The Okapi, UK, Pi, Okapia johnstoni, also known as the forest giraffe, Congolese giraffe, and zebra giraffe, and is an artiodactyl mammal that is endemic to the Northeast Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. It is the only species in the genus Okapia. Although the okapi has striped markings reminiscent of zebras, it is most closely related to the giraffe. The okapi and the giraffe are the only living members of the family Giraffidae. The okapi stands about 1.5 m 4f11 in, tall at the shoulder, and has a typical body length around 2.5 m 8f22 in. 8 ranges from 200 to 300 to 300 to 350 kg, 440 to 770. Its coat is a chocolate to reddish brown, much in contrast with the white horizontal stripes and rings on the legs and white ankles. Male okapis have short, distinct horn-like protuberances on their heads called oʊʻkăːpiː, less than 15 km, 5.9 in. Females possess hair whorls, and ossicones are absent. Okapis are primarily diurnal, but may be active for a few hours in darkness. They are essentially solitary, coming together only to breed. Okapis are herbivores, feeding on tree leaves and buds, grasses, ferns, fruits, and fungi. Root in males and estrus in females does not depend on the season. In captivity, estrus cycles recur every 15 days. The gestational period is around 440 to 450 days long, following which usually a single calf is born. The juveniles are kept in hiding, and nursing takes place infrequently. Juveniles start taking solid food from 3 months, and weaning takes place at 6 months. Okapis inhabit canopy forests at altitudes of 500 m, 1600 m, 1600 n, 1600 and 4900 ft. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources classifies the okapi as endangered. Major threats include habitat loss due to logging and human settlement. Illegal mining and extensive hunting for bushmeat and skin have also led to a decline in populations. The Okapi Conservation Project was established in 1980, then to protect populations, etymology, and taxonomy. Strips cut from the striped part of the skin of an okapi, sent home by Sir Harry Johnston, were the first evidence of the okapi's existence to reach Europe. Although the okapi was unknown to the Western world until the 20th century, it may have been depicted since the early 5th century BC on the facade of the Apadana at Persepolis, a gift from the Ethiopian procession to the Achaemenid kingdom. 3. For years, Europeans in Africa had heard of an animal that they came to call the African unicorn. 4-5. The animal was brought to prominent European attention by speculation on its existence found in press reports covering Henry Morton Stanley's journeys in 1887. In his travelogue of Exploring the Congo, Stanley mentioned a kind of donkey that the natives called the ati, which scholars later identified as the Okapi cetacean needed. When the British Special Commissioner in Uganda, Sir Harry Johnston, discovered some pygmy inhabitants of the Congo being abducted by a showman for exhibition, he rescued them and promised to return them to their homes. The pygmies fed Johnston's curiosity about the animal mentioned in Stanley's book. Johnston was puzzled by the okapi tracks the natives showed him, while he had expected to be on the trail of some sort of forest. Welling horse, the tracks were of a cloven-hoofed beast. 6. Swerves of a cloven-hoofed beast. Illustration from an original painting by Sir Harry Johnston based on preserved skins, 1901. Though Johnston did not see an okapi himself, he did manage to obtain pieces of striped skin and eventually a skull. From this skull, the Okapi was correctly classified as a relative of the giraffe. In 1901, the species was formally recognized as Okapia johnstoni. Okapia johnstoni was first described as Equus johnstoni by English zoologist Philip Lutley Sclater in 1901. The generic name Okapia derives either from the Mbuba name Okia, Oki, while the specific name Johnstone, who first acquired an Okapi specimen for science from the Ituri forest. In 1901, Sclater presented a painting of the Okapi before the Zoological Society of London that depicted its physical features with some clarity. Much confusion arose regarding the taxonomical status of this newly discovered animal. Sir Harry Johnston himself called it a Helidotherium, or a relative of other extinct giraffids, based on the description of the Okapi by Pygmies who referred to it as a horse. Sclater named the species Equus johnstoni. Subsequently, zoologist Ray Lankster declared that the Okapi represented an unknown genus of the Giraffidae, which he placed in its own genus, Okapia, and assigned the name Okapia johnstoni to the species. 13. In 1902, Swiss zoologist Charles Emmanuel Forsyth Major suggested the inclusion of O. johnstoni in the extinct Giraffidae subfamily Paleotrogena. However, the species was placed in its own subfamily, Okapiinae, by Swedish paleontologist Birger Bolin in 1926-14 mainly due to the lack of a cingulum, a major feature of the Paleotrage. 15 in 1986, Okapi established as an analysis. The two genera together with Paleotragus constitute the tribe Giraffidae. Evolution. Despite the vast difference in neck length, the Okapi, left, and the giraffe, right, both have 7 cervical vertebrae, as do all mammals except for manatees and sloths. The earliest members of the Giraffidae first appeared in the early Miocene in Africa, having diverged from the superficially deer-like Climacosauridés. Giraffids spread into Europe and Asia by the Middle Miocene in a first radiation. Another radiation began in the Pliocene, but was terminated by a decline in diversity in the Pleistocene. 17. Several important primitive giraffids existed more or less contemporaneously in the Miocene, 23, 10 million years ago, including Canthomeryx giraffocus and Similarium. According to paleontologist and author Kathleen Hunt, Samotherium split into Okapia 18 million years ago, and Giraffa 12 million years ago. 18, however, J.D. Skinner argued that Canthomeryx gave rise to the Okapi and Giraffe through the latter 3 genera, and that the Okapi is the extant form of Paleotragus. 19. The Okapi is sometimes referred to as a living fossil, as it has existed as a species over a long geological time period, and morphologically resembles more primitive forms, e.g., Samotherium. In 2016, a genetic study found that the common ancestor of giraffe and Okapi lived about 11.5 million years ago. 20. Description: male Okapi displaying his striking horizontal stripes. The Okapi is a medium-sized giraffid, standing 1.5 em4 f11n tall at the shoulder. Its average body length is about 2.5 m8 f2n, and its weight ranges from 200 to 300 to 300 to 350 kg, 440 to 700. In sharp contrast to the white horizontal stripes on the legs and white ankles, the Okapi's coat is a chocolate to reddish brown. The distinctive stripes resemble those of a zebra. 23. These features serve as an effective camouflage amidst dense vegetation. The face, throat, and chest are grayish-white. Interdigital glands are present on all 4 feet and are slightly larger on the front feet. 24 male okapis have short hair-covered horn-like structures called ossicons, less than 15 cm by 5.9 in length, which are similar in form and function to the ossicons of a giraffe. Exhibits sexual dimorphism, with females 4.2 km 1.7 in, taller on average, slightly redder, and lacking prominent ossicons, instead possessing hair whorls. 26. The okapi shows several adaptations to its tropical habitat. The large number of rod cells in the retina facilitate night vision, and an efficient olfactory system is present. The large auditory bullae of the temporal bone allow a strong sense of hearing. The dental formula of the okapi is 24 teeth are low, crowned, and finely cusped, and efficiently cut tender foliage. The large cecum and colon help in microbial digestion, and a quick rate of food passage allows for lower cell wall digestion than in other ruminants. 20. 80. Head of a male okapi with damaged ossiconi. The okapi is easily distinguished from its nearest extant relative, the giraffe. It is much smaller than the giraffe and shares more external similarities with bovids and cervids. Ossicons are present only in the male okapi, while both sexes of giraffe possess this feature. The okapi has large palatine sinuses, hollow cavities in the palate, unique among the giraffids. Morphological features shared between the giraffe and the okapi include a similar gait. Both use a pacing gait, stepping simultaneously with the front and the hind leg on the same side of the body, unlike other ungulates that walk by moving alternate legs on either side of the body. Long, black tongue, longer in the okapi, useful for plucking buds and leaves, as well as for grooming. Ecology and behavior. Okapis are primarily diurnal, but may be active for a few hours in darkness. 30. They are essentially solitary, coming together only to breed. They have overlapping home ranges and typically occur at densities around 0.6 animals per square kilometer. 23 male home ranges average 13 km to 5.0 eskmi, while female home ranges average 3.5 km to 1.9 squ. Males migrate continuously, while females are sedentary. 31 males often mark territories in bushes with their urine, while females use common defecation sites. Grooming is a common defecation sites. Grooming is a common practice focused at the earlobes and the neck. Okapis often rub their necks against trees, leaving a brown exudate. The male is protective of his territory, but allows females to pass through the domain to forage. Males visit female home ranges at breeding time. 28. Although generally tranquil, the okapi can kick and butt with its head to show aggression. As the vocal cords are poorly developed, vocal communication is mainly restricted to 3 sounds: chuff, contact calls, used by both sexes, moan, by females during courtship, and bleat, by infants under stress. Individuals may engage in phlegm response, a visual expression in which the animal curls back its upper lips, displays the teeth, and inhales through the mouth for a few seconds. The leopard is the main natural predator of the okapi. Diet. The long tongue of the okapi. Okapis are herbivores, feeding on tree leaves and buds, grasses, ferns, fruits, and fungi. They are unique in the Ituri forest as they are the only known mammal that feeds solely on understory vegetation, where they use their 18-inch-long 46 cm tongues to selectively browse for suitable. The tongue is also used to groom their ears and eyes. 32. They prefer to feed in treefall gaps. The Okapi has been known to feed on over 100 species of plants, some of which are known to be poisonous to humans and other animals. Fecal analysis shows that none of those 100 species dominates the diet of the Okapi. Staple foods comprise shrubs and lianas. The main constituents of the diet are woody dicotyledonous species. Monocotyledous plants are not eaten regularly. In the Ituri forest, the Okapi feeds mainly upon the plant families Acanthocae, Ebonaceae, Euphorbiaceae, Slocurtiaceae, Logoniaceae, Rubiaceae, Loganiaceae, Rubiaceae, and Violaceae. Reproduction. A female Okapi with her calf at White Oak Conservation. Female Okapis become sexually mature at about 1.5 years old, while males reach maturity after 2 years. Rut in males and estrus in females does not depend on the season. In captivity, estrus cycles recur every 15 days, 2080. 33. The male and the female begin courtship by circling, smelling, and licking each other. The male shows his interest by extending his neck, tossing his head, and protruding one leg forward. This is followed by mounting and copulation. 26. The gestational period is around 440 to 450 days long, following which usually a single calf is born, weighing 1430 kg, 30 kj, 3166 lb. The udder of the pregnant female starts swelling 2 months before parturition, and vulval discharges may occur. Parturition takes 3-4 hours, and the female stands throughout this period, though she may rest during brief intervals. The mother consumes the afterbirth and extensively grooms the infant. Horn milk is very rich in proteins and low in fat, 2080. As in other ruminants, the infant can stand within 30 minutes of birth. Although generally similar to adults, newborn calves have long hairs around the eye, resembling false eyelashes, a long dorsal mane, and long white hairs in the stripes. 34. These features gradually disappear and give way to the general appearance within a year. The juveniles are kept in hiding, and nursing takes place infrequently. Cows are known not to defecate for the first month or two of life, which is hypothesized to help avoid predator detection in their most vulnerable phase of life. The growth rate of calves is appreciably high. The growth rate of calves is appreciably high in the first few months of life, after which it gradually declines. Juveniles start taking solid food from 3 months, and weaning takes place at 6 months. Ossicone development in males takes 1 year after birth. The Okapi's typical lifespan is 20-30 years. Distribution and habitat. The Okapi is endemic to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where it occurs north and east of the Congo River. It ranges from the Maiko National Park northward to the Ituri rainforest, then through the river basins of the Ruby, Lake Tele, and Ebola to the west, and the Ubangi River further north. Smaller populations exist west and south of the Congo River. It is also common in the Wamba and Epilu areas. It is extinct in Uganda. 1. The Okapi inhabits canopy forests at altitudes of 500 m, 1500 m, 1600 m, 1600, 4900 ft. It occasionally uses seasonally inundated areas, but does not occur in gallery forests, swamp forests, and habitats disturbed by human settlements. In the wet season, it visits rocky inselbergs that offer forage uncommon elsewhere. Results of research conducted in the late 1980s in a mixed-inometra forest indicated that the Okapi population density averaged 0.53 animals per square kilometer. 31 in 2008, it was recorded in Via National Park. 36. There is also evidence that opis were also observed in the Samulia Valley in Uganda by Europeans, but later became extinct in the late 1970s. 37th, the Semuliki Valley provides a similar habitat to the Congo Basin. Status, threats, and conservation. Okapi at Disney's Animal Kingdom. The IUCN classifies the okapi as endangered. 3080. It is fully protected under Congolese law. The Okapi Wildlife Reserve and Maiko National Park support significant populations of the okapi, though a steady decline in numbers has occurred due to several threats. Other areas of occurrence are the Ruby Telehunting Reserve and the Abumambanzi Reserve. Major threats include habitat loss due to logging and human settlement, extensive hunting for bushmeat and skin, and illegal mining have also led to population declines. A threat that has emerged quite recently is the presence of illegal armed groups around protected areas, inhibiting conservation and monitoring actions. A small population occurs north of the Virunga National Park but lacks protection due to the presence of armed groups in the vicinity. In June 2012, a gang of poachers attacked the headquarters of the Okapi Wildlife Reserve, killing 6 guards and other staff 90, as well as all 14 okapis at their breeding center. 40. The Okapi Conservation Project, established in 1987, works towards the conservation of the Okapi as well as the growth of the indigenous Mbutai people. Known in November 2011, the White Oak Conservation Center and Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens hosted an international meeting of the Okapi species survival plan and the Okapi European Endangered Species Program at Jacksonville, which was attended by representatives from zoos from the U.S., Europe, and Japan. The aim was to discuss the management of captive okapis and arrange support for okapi conservation. Many zoos in North America and Europe currently have okapis in captivity. 41. Okapis in zoos. 1960 Dutch newsreel about okapis in Diergaard Blijsdorp. Around 100 okapis are in accredited association of zoos and aquariums. AZA Zoo. The okapi population is managed in America by the AZA Species Survival Plan, a breeding program that works to ensure genetic diversity in the captive population of endangered animals, while the EEP European Studbook and ISBLEB European Studbook on ISBLOBAL Stuwenbelda, which was the first zoo to have an okapi on display in 1919, as well as one of the most successful in breeding them. 42. In 1937, the Bronx Zoo became the first in North America to acquire an okapi 4044, with one of the most successful breeding programs. 13 calves have been born there between 1991 and 2011. 45. The San Diego Zoo has exhibited Opipisen 1956 and their first copycat. Then, there have been more than 60 okapis born at the zoo and the nearby San Diego Zoo Safari Park, the most recent being Mosey, a male calf born on 21 July 2017 at the zoo. The Brookfield Zoo in Chicago has also greatly contributed to the captive population. The zoo has had 28 okapi births since 1959. 48. Other North American zoos that exhibit and breed okapis include Denver Zoo and Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, Colorado, Houston Zoo, Dallas Zoo, and San Antonio Zoo Texas, Disney's Animal Kingdom White Oak Conservation, Zoo Miami Kingdom, White Oak Conservation, Zoo Miami, and Zoo Tampa at Lowry Park, and San Diego Zoo, California, St. Louis Zoo, Missouri, Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden and Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, Ohio, Memphis Zoo and Aquarium, Ohio, Memphis Zoo and Nashville Zoo, Tennessee, the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore, Maryland, Sedgwick County Zoo, and Tanganyika Wildlife Park, Kansas, Roop, Zoo 49, North Dakota. Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, Nebraska. Philadelphia Zoo, Pennsylvania. Potawatomi Zoo and 50s, Indiana. Oklahoma City Zoo and Botanical Garden, Oklahoma City Zoo and Botanical Garden. Oklahoma and Blank Park Zoo, Iowa. In Europe, zoos that exhibit and breed okapis include Chester Zoo, London Zoo, Marwell Zoo, The Wild Place, 52 and Yorkshire Wildlife Park 50, 3 in United Kingdom, Dublin Zoo, Ireland, Berlin Zoo, Rayland Zoo, Rankford Zoo, Relma Zoo, Rankford Zoo, Welma Zoo, Woopert Zoo, and Liebesu, Switzerland. Copenhagen Zoo, Denmark. Rotterdam Zoo and Safari Park Beeksbergen, Netherlands. De Verkralov Zoo, Czech Republic. Wrocław Zoo, Poland. Biopark Zoo, Bordeaux, and Zoopark Zoo Dido and Zoo Ants. Biopark Zoo Dido and Zoo Portugal. In Asia, 3 Japanese zoos exhibit okapis. Ueno Zoo in Tokyo, Kanazawa Zoo and Zoo Arashi in Yokohama,